contribute to restoring security and allowing peace to flower in certain countries who need this to be the case, such as Somalia and the Central African Republic. As regards human rights issues, Burundi firmly believes that human rights must be protected by clear good governance mechanisms, clear security, and clear equitable justice mechanisms. As part of monitoring the implementation of the principles of human rights protection, the international community must accede to the fundamental principles of universality, transparency, impartiality, non-selectivity, non-politicization, and objectiveness. It must also reject a policy of double standards when dealing with human rights issues. In this regard, Burundi believes that the best way to promote and protect human rights is to work driven forward by cooperation, dialogue, technical assistance, and capacity building, and the strengthening of national mechanisms which focus on human rights issues. We'd like to take this opportunity to call upon certain partners, namely those within the United Nations Human Rights Council, to properly, fairly, and responsibly interpret Burundi's efforts alongside the United Nations and to give them their proper weight. Any act looking to single out Burundi by placing it under special human rights mechanisms is quite simply counterproductive. As you are aware, Burundi has national mechanisms which are able to defend, promote, and protect human rights. We have the Independent National Human Rights Commission that has just reclaimed its A status. We also have the National Observatory for the Prevention and Eradication of Genocide, War Crimes, and Other Crimes Against Humanity, and we have the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, the National Council for National Unity, the Lands and Other Goods Commission, and the Ombudsman. In practice, the government has focused and does focus on the protection of human rights, the respect of democratic principles, and the freedoms of opinion, expression, and of the press. A great deal of work has been done thanks to the institution of a dialogue, an ongoing dialogue between political parties, media, and public authorities. This process of dialogue has allowed us to open a number of media institutions that had been closed during the skirmishes and insurrection of 2015. We've also freed more than 5,000 prisoners by way of presidential partners. We've seen the participation of political parties and civil society in the management of the country's social and political life. Mr. President, Majesty, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Turning now to socio-economic issues, Burundi, like other countries, cannot achieve development without resolving issues of healthcare, education, and the management of particular social groups such as young people, women, vulnerable peoples, and those suffering from poverty. As far as healthcare is concerned, the COVID-19 pandemic has arrived in addition to other illnesses raging throughout the country, such as malaria, HIV, AIDS, tuberculosis, and many others which are of concern to the government of Burundi. As regards the COVID-19 pandemic, since the arrival of the first cases of the pandemic, Burundi has taken preventative and response measures, and all of our strategies have made it possible to keep our positivity rate under 3% and to avoid high prevalence of serious COVID cases. However, the complex nature of the virus means that all the nations of the world must engage in more research and show greater displays of genius to find a solidarity-based, collective and sustainable solution, even lasting solution to this pandemic which is sowing chaos throughout humankind. In the same vein, Burundi is appealing for international solidarity to aid citizens suffering from other illnesses, such as those cited above, which hinder their attempts to ensure their economic development. With this in mind, the government of Burundi has a policy of free healthcare for children under 5 and for women who give birth in public hospitals and clinics. Moreover, we have committed to providing each commune with at least one hospital to guarantee that healthcare is never far away from the Burundian people. As part of this effective economic development, our priority is first and foremost food and security. We're aiming to ensure that every mouth has food and every citizen has the income necessary to allow it to meet other basic needs. Consequently, the state of Burundi has committed to supporting local cooperatives as they fight against poverty in all areas of the country. This policy has made Burundi one of the few countries that does not import foodstuffs. Our other priority is education. Education for all is a principle enshrined in the United Nations agenda, and my country finds education for all to be a prerequisite for sustainable development and its agenda. We have guaranteed free basic education to allow every child to attend school, whatever his or her social status. It is in this same vein that we decided to equip every local authority with a school and a teacher training school. We have also looked to and continue to look to reform our education system to provide people with technical and professional training. This will allow us to have young people that are technically capable and multi-skilled and therefore able to conduct economic activity in all sectors. As regards social protection, here, we're looking at issues of youth employability, the employability of women, and improving the living conditions of persons in vulnerable situations. In order to achieve these goals, we're encouraging young people to demonstrate imagination, to launch their own development projects. However, at the same time, Burundi has launched a far-reaching program for economic empowerment and youth employment.